Still to come on this edition of ACC PM, Sania Rivers just minutes away from joining us as we're 22 minutes away from Cuse and NC State. As Ivory mentioned, Sania, new hairdo, new me, who this? We'll chat with Sania after the break. Isaiah James has been cooking up this season. You know, lefties, they just got a smooth game. She got the red headphones to match the drip. 17.2 points per game and 4.9 rebounds per game. NC State, they've won 10 out of their last 11 games. The Wolfpack is off to a 6-1 start in ACC play this season, thanks in part to their dynamic backcourt, Isaiah James and Sania Rivers. We caught up with Sania during her pregame warm-up.
I wish you was in both ears.
Let's go all access with NC State star Sania Rivers. Sania, appreciate you making the time. Justin here along with Coach Muffin McGraw and Ivory Latta. Ivory's going to be asking you some weird questions, but let's start off with what has been the key of winning 10 out of 11 games? What have you liking from your team so far?
Thank you guys first for having me on, but I just think we've been playing together, just having fun while doing it. That's something we were definitely struggling with at the beginning of the season. Obviously, we lost a lot of strong pieces, and we've been asking a lot for the freshmen and transfers that have been coming in, but they've been doing great for us so far.
Having fun is such a key, Sania. It's Coach McGraw. I have a serious question for you, though, about your mindset heading into the game. I feel like some games you came out like the last game. You came out on fire, looking to really be aggressive, scoring the ball.
Definitely.
What kind of things are you doing to help that mindset, or is Wes telling you you need to do these things?
Yeah, for me, I do a lot of mental stuff before the game. I do a lot of breathing work. That's usually big for me. Even in the game, before I shoot a free throw, I'm making sure I'm breathing. Usually when I breathe, I think better for myself, and I can make better decisions for my teammates, especially playing at point guard. Got to make the best decisions for the team. But I feel like that's what's been helping me play so good, just trusting my teammates and just trusting my preparation and my coach. So it's been big for me.
Yo, that's good. Well, you already know this is your favorite point guard of all time in America forever. My question, as you already know, I'm about to get to it. You be styling on and off the court, but lady, let me ask you, what has been the inspiration behind the red hair? Because you have been balling since you got it done. I just want to know.
I don't know. Like, red is my favorite color, and everybody says, oh, she went to state because the color is red. Maybe so, but earpiece coming out my ear. But I don't know. 2025 came. I just wanted to be different, and it's definitely different. You can't miss me. So now everybody notices me and says it's because of the red hair, and I just go with it and say yes. So I love it.
Love to see it. New hair, don't care, new me, who this? You've been cooking up since you've had the different hairstyle. So now I'd love to know more about the pregame routine. You were speaking about the breathing exercises. Give us a peel behind the curtain about what you're doing leading up to the game and how helpful that is when it gets tense inside the game.
Yeah, so I actually just caught my first win. I'm catching my breath right now. I got a good workout in just to emulate what I do in the game. Some pull-ups, three-pointers, some free throws when I'm tired. Then, like I said, doing some breathing work, and I'm stretching right now. I've been playing big minutes this season, so I always mentally prepare to be on the court for 40 minutes and more if it goes into overtime. So that's all I'm doing right now, just getting my body and my mind ready. So.
Well, Sania, I appreciate you making the time. I know you can't see us, but your girl Ivory, her suit matches your hairstyle. She's wearing that red drip.
Hey, that's my dog. She knew what to do for the game. She knew what to do.
That's Sania.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. As we mentioned, NC State off to a 6-1 start in the ACC. They're on the road taking on Cuse tonight. The Wolfpack, like everyone else in the ACC, trying to chase Notre Dame, who remains unbeaten in conference play. Doubleheader right here on the ACC Network. Great news for the Orange. Woo! Georgia Woolley back in the starting lineup. She missed the last game against Boston College with an illness. They're going to need their leading scorer tonight against a tough NC State squad. Less than 7 minutes away from tip. The Cuse versus the Wolfpack. Just minutes away from NC State and Cuse. Cuse coming into this 1-6 in the conference. Meanwhile, NC State has won 10 out of their last 11 games. Ivory, you're speaking about fast starts for this team. What do you want to see from the Wolfpack early on?
Just come out with a lot of energy, control the pace, just like set the tone with their defense and let it fuel their offense.
The energy is huge. That dome can be a weird place to play. And even when Syracuse has a lot of fans there, it doesn't feel like it because it's a massive football stadium. So you got to bring your own energy and you've got to shoot the ball well because it's a weird sightlines, but they have to start quickly. You need that from NC State.
Absolutely, and I think Sanaya Rivers may be the key, because when she comes out shooting, she came out last game, scored the first 5 points of the game, like, hey, here I am, let's go, everybody get on board. And again, Madison Hayes really playing well right now.
Ladies, you're speaking about bringing the energy. It felt like it was a dance-off in the pregame lineup. Like everybody was busting their best move. Georgia Woolley back starting for Cuse after that illness in the game. Some quick keys for the Orange winning this game.
Well, the fact that Georgia Woolley's back is good news because that's their best player. They're going to have to shoot the 3-ball well against NC State. And then Sanaya Rivers has gotten in foul trouble. If they can get her in foul trouble, that would bode well for Syracuse.
Defensively, they're very good on the boards. If they can continue to do that, get some easy follow-up baskets.
Hey, Syracuse, take care of the basketball.
Yes.
That's the main thing. Take care of the basketball.
Syracuse taking on NC State on the call. You have Stephanie White and Jen Hildreth. Enjoy the game. We'll see you at halftime.
Welcome to ACC Network Basketball presented by Ally. The JMA Wireless Dome all lit up here in upstate New York as the 20th ranked NC State Wolfpack come to town to take on the Syracuse Orange. NC State winners in 10 of their last 11. They are 6-1 in conference play. That is tied for second with Duke, just behind Notre Dame. So NC State right now in the thick of it in the ACC race, and Syracuse trying to get there. Hey everybody, so great to have you with us. I'm Jen Hildreth alongside Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White. Stephanie, what is important about this game for both these teams?
Well, I think for Syracuse, you want to start to feel good about how you're playing. They've had some injuries in and out of the lineup, and now they've got players back. They want to gain some momentum. For NC State, it's about continuing to build consistency. You want to be peaking as you head into March. This is a team that's got a tough stretch in the month of February, so they want to see it come together.
Yeah, everything's still in front of this team, and one player who has been peaking for the Wolfpack, National Player of the Week, Isaiah James, back-to-back 20-point games.
Well, Isaiah James is one of the top guards certainly in this league and in the country, 9th in the league in scoring, and she can do it at all 3 levels. Certainly she can get to the rim, knock down the 3, plays great in the mid-range. I love that she is opening the game up for facilitating, finding her teammates. She is a key for that 3-headed guard combination.
You mentioned getting players back. How big is this? Georgia Woolley is back for the Orange after missing the last game.
It's so important, and not just because of what she does from a production standpoint. She is the leading scorer for this Orange Ball Club, but she makes everybody else around her better. She's a calming presence on the floor. She's continued to work on her game, attacking off the bounce, facilitating in transition as well. And as Coach Jack said, she also is the head of the snake for us on the defensive end. She sets the tone for us. So having her back on the floor builds confidence amongst her teammates.
Syracuse losing their last 2 games. Both of those were on the road. Last time they were here on their home floor, Felicia Leggette's Jack squad able to pick up a win against Miami. So hoping to get back in the groove here on their home court. And Wes Moore, one of the most winning coaches in the country right now, number 2 overall amongst active coaches behind UConn's Gino Auriemma. In his 12th season at NC State, took this team to the Final Four a year ago. And high expectations once again for the Wolfpack. 6-1 mark in conference play. Wolfpack feeling good. Their only loss coming on the road at Cal. See their starting 5, no changes there for NC State, but pretty consistent with those starters. That 3-headed monster, Isaiah James, Sanaya Rivers, Zoe Brooks in the backcourt. Georgia Woolley back for the Syracuse Orange. They have had quite a bit of change in their starting 5 as they turn it over. This is the 9th different starting lineup for the Orange this season. Rivers, James, who wants it? It'll eventually go back out to Hayes to knock down the 3.
Well, Madison Hayes knocks down that 3, but you got to score a layup when you have a 2-on-1 right there. And those are the little things that Coach Wes Moore is talking about. He wants that urgency from his team. He wants them hungry.
Syracuse hungry too for victory. As I mentioned, those back-to-back losses, the last one on Sunday coming on the road at Boston College where they scored just 51 points in that game. Worst loss under Coach Jack.
Well, that game against BC was just an uninspiring effort from the jump. Really could not get it going in the first quarter, and we're playing from behind the entire ball game.
And uncharacteristic in terms of what we've seen from this team and its effort. That's a little more like it, and that is the player you said sets the tone for this Syracuse team, really on both ends of the floor. Putback is good from the sophomore Sophie Burrows.
Well, Syracuse is going to continue to mix up their defenses, but in this zone, they're going to be aggressive in the passing lanes. Wes Moore talked about it. That is one of his concerns. They need to use pass fakes. They need to attack the seams of the zone.
NC State saw some zone and had some struggles with it in their last game against Virginia. Cavaliers really pushed the Wolfpack, and that was on Reynolds in Raleigh. Some contact to the face there.
Just getting after the loose ball. See a little bit of contact into the nose, but jump ball called.
Burrows has led the Syracuse team in scoring for the last couple of games, coming off a 15-point effort in that loss at Boston College. And interesting to see Georgia Woolley going to the bench right now. So she missed the last game due to illness and has been battling the flu, she told us. Couldn't do much the first couple of days of the week. Didn't get to practice really at all individually, a little bit last night and then shoot around today. So keep an eye on her, see how long she's able to go. It's an early time for her to go to the bench.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if she can just get her wind back as a knocking down an open three. I mean, Dominique Camp, this is going to be big for Syracuse. Finding some offensive consistency, finding some confidence, knocking down shots.
Good start as Camp got the Orange to a 2-point lead. Offensive rebound keeps this alive. That's Brooks in there grabbing the offensive board.
The middle of the zone is wide open. There's nobody flashing. Sanaya Rivers really trying to throw that over the top diagonal each of the last two possessions. That middle flash is wide open.
Kira Scott picking up the foul for Syracuse. Came in when Woolley went out as Isaiah James was driving. Trieger was there open for a moment. Pass didn't find her though inside. It's Hayes instead, curling around for the open look. Nobody there for Syracuse. James picks it up off the bounce. But an empty possession in the end for the Wolfpack. Burrows, open look from three for one of the top 3-point shooters on this Syracuse team. Brooks, now James. That's her first points of the game.
So smooth in that mid-range. Could have taken the three, decided to punch it in, get a little bit better look. I think NC State can be an incredibly dangerous team in transition. I'd like to see them push pace a little more off of makes and misses.
Now you and Wes Moore would like to see that as Burrows knocks down another three for Syracuse. Good start for the Orange from outside.
Sure is. Coming off a game where she was 3 of 7 from the three-point line against BC. It's going to be an important piece for the Orange.
James, her last basket, snapped the drought of over 2 minutes without a score for the Wolfpack. Dominique Camp, a grad transfer in her 5th school after having to miss all of last season for ACL in the preseason. And Syracuse wants a little more of that too. Kyra Wood working the glass for 2.
They sure do. One of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country, and that's not going to make Wes Moore very happy, but a great job by Wood.
Rebound, run, and have fun were Wes Moore's message at the end of practice as Tilda Trieger, the freshman out of Stockholm, Sweden, gets 2 points for the Pack. Seventh straight start for Trieger. Really played well in the starting lineup.
The timing wasn't quite right on that play.
I was going to say, it seems like things stalled a little bit.
Scott a little bit late on the diagonal screen. Camp had to hold the ball too long.
Good finish there, though, from Sanaya Wilson. You do feel the absence of Woolley, don't you, when she's not out there, just in the way that things operate with the Syracuse team. One and done attempt on that end for NC State as the rebound once again going to Syracuse. Orange out, rebound to the Pack. 8-3 so far in this one. That is James getting down the floor. How about the block from Burrows? goes out of bounds. It'll stay with NC State, but Syracuse off to a good start.
They certainly are. Knocking down three-point shots, looking like they're in a flow on the offensive end of the floor, taking care of the ball, getting some easy buckets.
Syracuse shooting 45% to start this game, and that was for the most part, Stephanie, with Georgia Woolley on the bench. She didn't even play 2 minutes before she went out. Now she comes back for the Orange.
Well, sometimes when you're coming back from illness or even injury, it takes a little bit to get through that first win, so wondering if that was just a little bit of a check-in, because she told us after shoot-around today she was not going to look to the bench because she didn't want to be subbed out, right?
I'm not quite sure if that was her calling the number or that came from the bench. But hey, you come back in, you bank it in, you know you're living right.
That's right. Knock down a shot. And I like how they go to her right away after the timeout. Get her a touch, let her go to work.
Meanwhile, NC State just 3 makes out of their 10 field goal attempts so far in this first quarter. They look inside on this attempt. Another block, but Wolfpack able to get it back. Mallory Collier, though, eventually losing it. Burrows is 5 points so far for Syracuse. Leading scorer last couple of games. They've got Isabella Varejao in as well. A little more height inside. Woolley's looking that way to the 6'4" grad center. She got around Collier, who held her ground and eventually got the ball back. Brooks lines up the 3. Offense just hasn't really been clicking yet, has it?
Well, everything they get is jump shots, and that's what the zone is designed to do, force you to shoot contested jump shots. Now, Syracuse, on the other hand, is getting some wide open ones.
Zamaria Jones with the ball now, back on the floor, missed about a month. As Rivers crosses over and Collier gets the wide open putback.
And that's what you got to look to do. You got to look to attack the zone, and it doesn't have to necessarily be off of dribble penetration. You got to get paint touches off of entry passes, off of penetration, forced rotation.
And Jones is out there, one of those players who can be explosive, penetrate, get into the lane a bit more. Westmore saying he wanted to get her on the floor for that very reason as Woolley pulls up for 2 more.
Georgia Woolley just plays at such a good pace. She doesn't really get rushed. She gets to her spots.
And Syracuse forcing the jump ball, but it'll stay with the Wolfpack. 19 seconds on the shot clock. Sunday, we've got 3 more ACC women's games coming your way here on ACC Network. Number 13, North Carolina hosting Florida State. That's at noon. And then Boston College takes on Wake Forest. And then a little gymnastics in between, Stanford Pitt. And then we'll have this NC State team hosting Virginia Tech at 6 Eastern. On the shot clock now. Shot from the short corner is good as Maddie Cox had just checked into the game. Now sometimes Wes Moore can get to where he's playing his starters an awful lot. They all average close to 30 minutes just about. But this time he's gone to his bench trying to find the right mix, and Kira Scott off the bench for Syracuse adds to their total. The shot, a little off balance that time from Jones.
But it's going to take Jones a little bit of time to work her way back into rhythm. When you sit out for that long, especially when your shooting hand is affected.
This should be an easy 2, and is for Rivers. First points of the game for Sanaya Rivers, who came into tonight needing 15 points to get to 1,000.
And for NC State, that's a way to get some easy buckets. You know, they can be, I feel like they can be a little bit more aggressive on the defensive end of the floor. Pressure the basketball, another big shot by Burrows.
And she's playing with a lot of confidence. 7 points in the game for the sophomore.
Well, she has that size advantage with her length to be able to shoot over smaller defenders, and I like how aggressively she's hunting shots.
Burrows and Woolley, 2 of 3 Aussies on this Syracuse roster. That's a travel called on Jones. You see that brace on Jones' right hand that you were talking about. She had a an injury to the thumb on her right hand, kind of a freak injury, happened in practice, as I said, missed about a month. And since it is on the shooting hand, I imagine that is an adjustment.
An adjustment in how you're handling the ball, how you're making passes, and then you get back on the floor, and now it's about getting your wind back, getting game rhythm, timing.
Wood got her hands just enough to the ball to keep it alive, and Burroughs puts it off the glass.
And that's a great job of just pursuing extra possessions by Sophie Burroughs.
She averages just over 10 points per game. She already has 9 in the first quarter to lead Syracuse so far. Warren shooting over 50% from the floor. Trieger tried a little shot fake, eventually does get the basket. She has 4.
Syracuse 22, North Carolina State 15.
Kept the feel in a lot of ways this first quarter, just what the doctor ordered for Syracuse.
It certainly is. Sense of urgency, aggressive mentality.
Verjao using the left for 2. Syracuse gonna have a lead after this first quarter. Rivers trying to cut into it and can't. 24 points in quarter number 1 for the Orange. A great start as they're back home on their floor at the JMA Wireless Dome. Georgia Woolley is back for the Orange, helping to lead this team to a hot shooting start on their home floor. They're up after the first 10 at Syracuse. ACC Women's Basketball is presented by Ally, the bank that's your ally. Well, the exterior of the JMA Dome is all lit up, and let's be honest, Syracuse has been lighting it up so far. So I do wonder what is going on in this NC State huddle. What needs to be better for the Pack?
I think they've got to be a little bit more aggressive against the zone. They're passing the ball around the perimeter. You noticed it after the first time out. Wes Moore had talked to his team about attacking a little bit more off the bounce, finding the guts of the zone. But they're all also trying to do it on their own individually. They've got to get this zone shifting, get it moving, and then find quality shots after paint touches.
Heard Sinai Rivers talking to our Nothing But Net crew in studio before the game and talking about how she felt this team had really been playing together so well. So that is interesting because I agree with you that you haven't felt that thus far in their performance. Syracuse, on the other hand, is getting contributions from everybody.
Multiple players are getting touches, and when that happens, you get high percentage looks. But the zone forces you to be a little bit stagnant on the offensive end, and sometimes the lack of movement, the lack of the ability of attacking the paint.
There goes Jones attacking, lost the handle just a bit in the end, but recovers. Maria Jones, a highly talented freshman. McDonald's Jordan All-American, turnover on this end. I'll credit Syracuse for getting back. No points in transition to be had, and then they stopped James, who was trying to get to the paint. Wood wide open, but got a little deep and goes back to Scott. Not exactly the way they probably would have drawn it up, but it works.
No, but Syracuse really dictating tempo. Great job of getting back in transition. You mentioned it. That was one of Coach Jack's points of emphasis, and they're getting out in transition and getting some easy ones.
Trieger can't finish her opportunity off. Camp pulls up, and it is out. NC State ball.
This does not look like the same Syracuse Orange team that we saw play against Boston College. Part of it, Georgia Woolley back in the lineup. I think part of it, Coach Jack's emphasis on attention to detail and really getting into and challenging her team to holding them to a different standard this last week of practice.
Yeah, maybe not only the message, but how it was being delivered.
Yes.
Since she told us she had to unleash the real, raw Coach Jack in practice. Said, maybe she's taking the kid gloves off a little bit. Said she had to be comforting, giving some hugs. Well, that all went away yesterday. Hayes hits a quick 2 for the Wolfpack.
Well, anybody who knows Coach Jack has seen she's an intense coach. It was how she was as a player, You know, the accountability factor, and she had been trying to blend this team. Remember, they lost a lot, not just in the Asia Fair, but they lost 3 players that were incredibly connected. You know, with this group, a lot of new pieces coming together, a lot of pressure on Georgia Woolley now to pass the baton, so to speak. And she was holding them, you know, being nice, holding them a little bit accountable from a lighter standpoint. Now she said, no longer.
And to her credit, Georgia Woolley said, we needed it.
Yes.
Keeping an eye on Woolley, too. She's had her hands on her knees. Definitely is not 100% after being sick earlier in the week. Tell you what, these guards for NC State work hard on the glass. Brooks getting in there, going all the way down the floor for 2.
And that is the best way for NC State to get themselves going. Score in transition. You don't allow the zone to get set.
Rebound and run. And have fun. It's fun when you can do that. Those were Westmore's words at the end of shoot-around earlier today. Scott was calling for it inside. Really not quite ready to go there. Takes it herself. Rivers all the way to the basket, and she is fouled. Scott picking up her 2nd personal. So Sanaya Rivers will head to the line. First free throws of the game for either team. Sanaya just under 69% from the line for the season. Well, Monday, the Huddle crew will reveal this season's ACC football schedule. Yes, we're talking about that already. Yes, they'll break down each team, look at key weeks and specific matchups. Coverage of this 2-hour special begins at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. There really is no off-season when it comes to football. That's the message there.
That is true.
7-point Syracuse advantage.
Oh, missed an opportunity for a high-low.
Burrows had the hot hand in the first quarter with 9 points. Brooks. James, leading scorer for this Wolfpack team, averages over 17 points per game, just 2 so far in this one. Well, the Orange have gone over 2 minutes without a basket, and James says not this time either. Big swat away, sends Brooks on her way, and she'll go back to the free throw line.
Well, what a defensive play by Isaiah James. And this is exactly what we saw Syracuse working on in shoot-around today. That weak side dive, and Isaiah James gets inside and says, "Uh-uh, not today."
I think the guards take a little extra joy
Sure
in some
do.
of those blocks when they're able to get them.
It's not often when it happens, so.
Zoe Brooks, forget sometimes she's just a sophomore. Member of the all-freshman team last year for the Wolfpack, has been really consistent. 14 points in the last game is a steady stream of double-digit efforts. And the Wolfpack on a 7-0 run. Rivers a little too aggressive trying to get in the passing lane. That is her first personal foul. Certainly we give some credit to the NC State defense, but is there anything that you've seen that's not working as well now for Syracuse that was earlier?
I think Syracuse is still getting really good shots. They just, were hot early. They haven't knocked a couple of them down. I think NC State could be better in terms of their ball pressure.
Woolley got the open 3 and made it count.
Look, Syracuse just playing with great confidence on the offensive end. They're moving the ball, they're executing, setting screens, their timing is really good, and that's a tough shot by Isaiah James.
Yeah, you get the feeling that block maybe is going to get her going a little bit. 4 points in the game for James. flashing across the paint. There's now Burrows now. 8 on the shot clock. The drive, and it was contested by Brooks. It's Lexi McNabb into the game. Foul on the floor, and we'll take a break as well. Syracuse still in the lead, but NC State starting to get hot.
Georgia Woolley wide open for a 3. Syracuse with 3 of them early in this ball game, and Isaiah James, the tough 2 over the outstretched hand.
Coming up in the halftime, I'll be joined by Coach Muffin McGraw, and Ivory will break down Cuse and NC State, have an update from Pitt, and speak about Notre Dame's dynamic duo. Let's send it back out to the JMA Wireless Dome with Stephanie and Jen Hildreth.
Justin, thank you. Syracuse playing well so far in this first half. Georgia Woolley has continued to make a difference when she's been on the floor.
Yeah, she sure has, and you know, even without the numbers, her presence, right? The confidence that she's giving her team, her ability to be a ball mover as much as a scorer for her ball club, and having her at the top of that zone with her length and her instincts really does set the tone for the Orange.
NC State has made 4 of their 6 field goal attempts, though, been much better offensively in the second quarter than they were in the first. Syracuse has cooled off a little bit on the offensive end. Foul on Trieger, her first.
It feels like to me NC State is just a hair too late. All their decision making, just a hair too late. They're catching and holding, don't know exactly what they're going to do with the ball, and that allows the zone to shift and recover. And the activity level, the length, I think, of the Syracuse zone really affecting NC State.
Woolley closely guarded by Rivers. Burrows down to Verjao. Yes, that name should be familiar, NBA fans. Isabel's uncle, Anderson Verjao. Some contact in the paint. No whistle blown, though. Brooks.
Like, I thought that should have been a shot by Sanaya Rivers. You're not getting a better shot. You've gotten the zone to shift. You forced a little bit of a help. It's a late recovery closeout. That's got to be a shot.
Woolley. Ready to shoot on the other end, but around and out it goes. Brooks got herself free into the paint. She's got 5 in the game. And NC State inching a bit closer. The Wolfpack haven't led since the score was 3-2. Syracuse led by as many as 11. But obviously NC State's creeping back up.
NC State doing a good job of icing or downing those ball screens, not allowing Syracuse to come off.
A high-low game works to perfection that time. There's out of Wood.
Kira Wood, what a great job of continuing to work for that low post position. She didn't get it with 2 or 3 passes, kept her feet moving, kept working.
Wood, such an important presence for the Syracuse team as well. She missed a couple of games due to concussion protocol and only had 2 points in the last game, one of her worst outings in terms of production. But having her and Woolley out there, something Syracuse hoping to take advantage of. .15 on the shot clock as NC State gets it back in play. James had enough of a window to call her own number. Wood had 2 defenders on her, makes the basket, and gets fouled.
Well, that's really good recognition by Syracuse on the offensive end. There was a mismatch in transition, continued to work it. You see everybody pointing the finger, the mismatch, see it happening. The double is late, but what a strong finish by Wood and a perfect pass by Georgia Woolley.
8 points in the game for Wood, the senior for the Syracuse team in her 3rd year with the program. Started her career at Temple. Coach Jack telling us earlier, gotta make the free throws. They've obviously been in some close games. Free throws can make a difference. That one doesn't go down for Wood.
They sure can. When the margin for error is small, the opportunities at the free throw line, points in the paint, missed layups, all of those are important.
Acrobatic attempt there from Zoe Brooks, who's fouled.
Zoe Brooks has done a good job of putting her head down and just attacking the seams of the zone. She's hit a couple of floaters in the paint. There she goes all the way to the rim and gets the opportunity at the foul line.
Well, we want to tell you about our next gymnastics meet here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. It'll be Sunday afternoon, number 15 Stanford squaring off against number 25 Pitt at Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern. And Stanford, in its inaugural ACC dual meet, posted a score of over 197. That was their best in the month of January since 2015. So, gymnastics fans, we got you covered. Wood. There were 3 NC State players around her. She still came away with the rebound, and Rivers came flying in this time to make sure it wound up with the Wolfpack.
She averages over 3 offensive rebounds a game. That is a mentality. That's relentless on the offensive glass.
Brooks. Woolley and Syracuse wanting to take that lead into the locker room at halftime.
That's really good timing. Dominique Kemp waited for the right time to get the ball to Woolley.
NC State, remember, a lot at stake for this Wolfpack team. They've got a really tough schedule coming up in the month of February. They just moved up to the 4 seed line, according to Charlie Cream. They're ranked in the top 20.
And keep an eye on Georgia Woolley. It looked like she might have tweaked her ankle on that last possession defensively. And she was visibly a little shaken up, trying to walk it off right now.
I mean, if that is not a warrior of a player, she's got the black eye, she's got the sleeve down the left leg, a brace on the right calf. I mean,
yeah, and you could see it in live action right there. Zoe Brooks just stepping on her foot. She's walking it off. And that black eye came in the game against Miami on January 12th. That thing's sticking around for a while.
Cross-court pass finding Verjao. Under a minute to play in the first half, and officials talking to one another decide it will stay under the basket. 11 seconds on the shot clock for Syracuse. When we talk about what this game means for both teams, we're just kind of getting into that with NC State and all that lies ahead for them. They want to keep within their sights in terms of potentially hosting NCAA tournament. Good turnaround and finish there from Verjao. And Syracuse, look, you've got to be in top 15 now to make it to the ACC tournament in this expanded ACC on the women's side. They need to make sure that box is checked.
Well, and if you're NC State, this is about a mentality, right? Like, you got to win the games that you're supposed to win and win them convincingly. You know, you got to play with a sense of urgency at all times, consistency. You know, Coach Westmore talks about needing some dogs. Well, you know, there's some puppies right now.
Verjao rattles home the 3. Brooks at the buzzer, no good. And Syracuse leading this one by 10, a double-digit lead for the Orange at the half. This is the largest deficit NC State has faced so far against an ACC team at the half. So Syracuse doing what they need to do so far in this one. What will Westmore talk to his team about? We shall find out when we come back in the second half to keep you entertained during halftime. Our studio crew has you covered, so Justin, it's all yours.
Thanks, Jen. Welcome into this ACC Network Halftime Report alongside Hall of Fame coach Muffin McGraw, UNC legend Ivory Ladd. I'm Justin Walters. Georgia Woolley enters the lineup and Syracuse has a load of confidence. What are you seeing from the Orange?
Well, the Orange look really good, but I think the reason is NC State playing without a complete lack of urgency at the defensive end. They're just giving Syracuse wide open looks at the basket.
Yeah, Syracuse has been definitely confident on the offensive end. I mean, they're actually getting the shots that they want. They're getting those second chance points, which is giving them opportunities to shoot the three, but also, get an and one. And I mean, they're doing a great job. They're comfortable. And like you said, Coach, NC State is playing no defense, no aggressive defense whatsoever.
High-low's killing them. They're getting the ball inside whenever they want. They're open from the three-point line. There's some confusion as to who's guarding who. They really need to light a fire under them. Wes, get it going.
And Ivory, we've spoken about this, a sense of urgency sometimes we don't see the Wolfpack come out with.
No, and that's what we was talking about. We hope that they come out with some energy. They was really lackadaisical coming out the game. They wasn't, going hard on offense. Offense-wise, they was one and done. In that zone, get the ball in the middle, whether it's a drive, a pass, and then see what your options are. And the energy was not there.
Exactly. Syracuse zone is just putting them to sleep. They've got to penetrate the gap, get to that ACC logo. That's what they got to get to. Against the zone, that's where you want to go. You can kick it out for three, you can hit the guy on the block, or you can take the shot, but they're just not really playing together right now.
Yeah, NC State coming into this game winning 10 of their last 11, not a strong first half. Georgia Wooley's been cooking up in the first half. After missing last game with an illness, she has 9 points as Cuse finds himself up by 10. Let's go out to the JMA Wireless Dome. It's been a great and strong first half for Syracuse, with Georgia Wooley back in the lineup, dishing here to Kyra Wood, 2 of her 8 points. Second half starts away shortly. Stephanie White, Jen Hildreth.
Welcome back to ACC Network Basketball presented by Ally. Great first half for the Syracuse Orange against the 20th ranked NC State Wolfpack. A 10-point lead for the Orange, the biggest deficit at halftime NC State has faced in their conference season yet. Jen Hildreth, Stephanie White, and Syracuse certainly got the memo of what needed to be improved upon, but NC State coming out in the second half with some work to do.
Yeah, they just didn't come out in this ballgame with energy, with urgency, intensity on either end of the floor, and Syracuse taking advantage of it, moving the ball really well and playing great basketball.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the return of Georgia Wooley, and she did lead them in scoring in the first half, but this has really been balanced effort by the Orange.
It has been. I mean, this is an Orange team that multiple players are touching the ball on a possession. They're getting exactly what they want. They've got balance from the interior scoring and on the perimeter. They've made 4 threes in the first half of this ballgame. They only averaged 5 on the season, but ball movement was critical and get production from multiple players. And NC State needs to come out with a sense of urgency on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, because make no mistake, this is one of those games that NC State should win, right?
Yes.
I mean, you talk about winning the games you're supposed to win. Well, in the ACC, that is never a given, never easy, and the Wolfpack have to be better in this second half than they were in the first.
And we're talking about 3 experienced players in this starting lineup for NC State who understand what it takes and who have to be the ones to set the tone for this team.
And there's so much upside when you look at the talent on this NC State team. They have the ability to score and play together more so. I mean, they've won 10 of their last 11. They're 6-1 in conference play. You don't get that way by accident.
But it's got to start on the defensive end. I'm assuming that Westmore challenged his team in the locker room to be better defenders, to have some ball pressure, to take some pride in making things difficult for the Orange.
We asked him what he needed to see from his team over this last month of the regular season as James hits the 2, and he said, I need him to be dogs out there. That is a familiar refrain from Westmore, but that's a little bit of what was missing in that first half.
Well, it's a mentality. It's a mentality. It's leadership. It's playing with a sense of urgency. You can't be begging for it from your team.
Mm-hmm. Hands on the basketball by Sanaya Rivers there. Stays with Syracuse. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Tilda Trieger, a quiet first half. One of the sweetest players, also Swedish, but sweet in terms of personality Westmore's asked to bring a little bit of the nasty out at times on the floor. Woolley, 9 points in the first half to lead Syracuse offensively. Brooks had 8 to lead NC State. James just inside the three-point line. And Syracuse has been good on the glass. +2 advantage in rebounding in the first half. Wood, boy, she had to work to make something out of that.
They've been good on the glass. They've been taking care of the basketball, giving themselves opportunities, and certainly having Kyra Wood back into form is a big plus for the Orange.
Now she's at double digits, coming off just 2 points in the last game.
But you see how every possession for NC State, there's only 1 or 2 players that are touching the ball. The ball is staying on one side of the floor. They're not getting a lot of ball movement. They're not getting a lot of player movement.
Well, Camp wasn't even looking to score herself, always looking for other options. Found Burrows. Woolley got there. And it'll stay with NC State. Syracuse using the outside shot a little more to their advantage in the first half. They made 4 of them. NC State just 1 for 10 in the game from 3. Brooks got past Woolley, who gambled a little bit. NC State has won 11 games in a row against unranked opponents. And when you start going down the road, thinking NCAA tournament time, I mean, this one would count as a bad loss. When you consider all 4 of the losses they have on the season came to teams in the top 20, a lot of them in the top 10.
When you would think coming off of a tight game as the shot clock's winding down. Got a good look. You would think coming off of a tight game at home against a Virginia team that, again, no disrespect, that they should have beaten, would have woken them up, for lack of a better term. You cannot take any team in this league lightly. I mean, this is a terrific league. Every team is capable on any given night.
Burrows from the corner. Short off the front of the rim. Brooks on the run. Would love some points in transition and gets them.
And I like this too, this change of pace. Come with a little full court pressure. Alicia Leggett-Jack wants to talk about it.
Now timeout called by Coach Jack, so we'll take a break as well. Syracuse up 6. We welcome you back to ACC Network Basketball, presented by Ally. Talking the tournament, because, you know, it's never really too soon. These are, according to our Charlie Cream, the 4 nationally seeded teams at the moment from the ACC. Look at that 4 line, 3 ACC teams, including NC State, currently with an opportunity to host. That's what those really come down to.
It sure does, and NC State has a tough road in the month of February because they have to play Duke, they have to play at Carolina, at Georgia Tech, they play Notre Dame. Again, you know, this is not an easy road for them, and you know, finding your rhythm at the right time is critical.
Syracuse True trying to get their mojo back, if you will, after a really uncharacteristic performance on the road at Boston College. Wood, another offensive rebound for the Orange. This time it's Verjao, and credit NC State. Got hands to the basketball, forced the jump ball. It'll stay with Syracuse.
Well, Syracuse is relentless on the offensive glass. Over 15 a ball game, and they do a really good job of just pursuing the basketball. And you know, NC State undersized in that position, certainly have to make a better effort to make contact on a box out.
Verjao, Maddie Potts, the 6-foot freshman on the floor for the Orange at the moment. With those players off the bench. James. Woolley with the rebound. Had Potts up ahead. Opted to wait for the second runner in the form of Wood. Wood gets it back now, gets around Rivers for 2 more.
I love how Dominique Camp has an eye on Kyra Wood at all times. She could have reversed the ball. She could have skipped for a 3-point shot. She knew there was a mismatch on the interior, and she continued to look for Wood.
"12 points in the game for Wood. As that is a foul called against Verjean. That's her first. And at the risk of jinxing anything, I will say it was a fairly clean game in the first half by both teams in terms of fouls.
Well, now you've done it.
And also taking care of the basketball. James, tough shot.
But that was one of those plays where NC State is very tunnel vision. She had Zoe Brooks coming in behind, drove it into 3 players. Decision-making, ball movement, not great for the Wolfpack here in this ball game. Cuse continue to stay on top.
Dominique Camp has had a long journey to get out here on the floor for Syracuse. This is her 5th team that she's played for. Tore ACL, missed all of last season, but now starting to find her groove at that point guard spot.
Yeah, she is doing a great job of facilitating and in particularly finding Kyra Wood. Again, has her eye on the interior, sees the mismatches, passes on time, on target. She's got 5 assists and 0 turnovers, does Dominique Camp. And having a lead guard who really has a feel for where the ball needs to get to, when it needs to get there, is critical.
I think that does underscore a point you made earlier about how much Syracuse has had to reset this year with some of the big names, Medea Jaffer, of course, the biggest, that they lost from last season.
And you've got players in and out of the lineup and trying to get a rhythm and timing and rotations. All of that is tough as Maddie Potts knocks down a 3.
Yeah, the freshman shooting over 40% from behind the line when she's gotten onto the floor this season.
But look, there's no ball pressure. There's nothing making anything that Syracuse is doing offensively difficult right now. The Pack just soft, not disruptive, allowing the ball to move.
Here Scott committing the foul for Syracuse. That's her 3rd personal, puts Lorena Owu on the line. The freshman didn't play the last game for NC State, and I think this is a good example of Wes Moore trying to find the right mix of players that are going to give him what he's looking for on the floor.
Yeah, Wes Moore's a guy who typically does play his upperclassmen, right, his veteran players, but having different types of post players, and Owu can give him a different look on the interior.
Well, she's having to defend Verjean right now. Doing a pretty good job there. Got some help defensively as Hayes got her hands to the basketball in the end. Hayes for 3, yes! Much needed triple for the Wolfpack, just their 2nd make of the game from beyond the arc.
And Madison Hayes has a tendency to do that. Hit the timely buckets, make the timely plays.
Seven-point Syracuse lead. It was 10 at the half. They've led by as many as 11 in this game. Verjean. And the defensive work again of the freshman Owu, helping NC State all the way the other way. Jones off the bench. Came in with a ton of pace, and Owu follows up the shot.
Well, when the Wolfpack have found success, it's been in transition. It's been being able to get out in transition, had a 12-2 advantage before that bucket.
Five-point advantage now for Syracuse. 6-0 run by the Wolfpack, who take it away. Chance to add on a few more to the run. Brooks. Managed to still keep her dribble. Rivers. Great look inside to Hayes.
Great cut by Madison Hayes. Sometimes it's easy to stand on the perimeter, but that 90 cut along that baseline, big time play.
Well, Madison Hayes coming off a double-double, 19 points, 11 rebounds in the last game for NC State. One of the best games Wes Moore has said he's seen her play. Wow, nobody boxed out the shooter as Kira Scott came flying in to get her own rebound. And then Zoe Brooks eventually committing the foul.
Attention to detail. It's critical, and the shot goes up, and there's a flyby closeout by Madison Hayes, and Scott does a great job of pursuing the ball, getting her team an extra possession, and then the foul on the rebound.
Hayes actually the player to pick up that foul for NC State, her first. Potts knocked down a triple a few moments ago for Syracuse. 8 on the shot clock now for Burrows, who had been quiet. Big first half for Sophie Burrows with 9 points. She now has 11.
Again, the recognition by Sophie Burrows. She got a switch. She had a smaller defender on her in Zam Jones, and she just uses the fadeaway, uses her size and length to shoot over the top.
First basket in over 2 minutes for the Orange, who now get a turnover. Now they have a chance to get some points in transition. They don't get there immediately, but Burrows does eventually put it away.
Good pickup by Sophie Burrows. That pass was not an easy one to handle.
Back-to-back buckets by Burrows. 13 points now. Jones. Hayes open in the corner. Yeah, she's got another one.
Great extra pass by Zoe Brooks. Passed up a good shot for a great one.
And then Brooks doing it on the defensive end, gives herself an easy open two. Brooks and Hayes really carrying NC State in this quarter. Potts just barely kept a toe on the ground as Woolley drives and gets hammered on her way to the basket. We'll see who they actually call with the foul. I think it was on Jones.
No, good job of just making a play by Georgia Woolley. She's improved so much in her ability to put the ball on the floor, get to the rim, get to the free throw line.
And you think about the journey of Georgia Woolley, of course, started at Buffalo with Coach Jack when she was there as a MAC Freshman of the Year, followed Coach Jack to Syracuse, now in her 3rd year with the Orange. Certainly one of the more veteran players, not only with this program, but with Coach Jack. And that's a very rare sight to see her miss from the free throw line. She's just about 90% from the line for the season, ranked 2nd in the ACC.
And it's been an adjustment for Georgia Woolley. You go from being a complimentary player to a terrific scorer in DeAsia Fair to now you're the top of every scouting report, right? So every scouting report designed to contain her, to make her get tough shots, and she's been able to excel.
One possession game, 3-point Syracuse lead. Final seconds ticking away of quarter number 3. NC State has not led in this game since the score was 3-2, and then Woolley drawing the foul on the 3-point attempt. It's Jones again. And this time Woolley gets 3 chances from the free throw line.
Again, offensive rebound, multiple possessions. You see just the follow through of that left hand. But it's just the Orange just making all the hustle plays right now, getting the 50-50 balls, really pursuing offensive rebounds, getting the extra possessions.
It does feel like those hustle plays have more consistently gone the way of the Orange in this game. I feel like we've seen it in spurts from NC State. Zoe Brooks making a great play defensively. Lorena Awu, when she's been on the floor, has had some moments, but Syracuse has used that to their advantage. Woolley now with 13, the lead back to 6 for Syracuse. One thing this Wolfpack team does not do is panic. You can see a lot of calm as Sanaya Rivers and company decide how they want to use these final 10 seconds now. Rivers swings it to the corner, rattled home by Jones. That was a big shot for NC State.
Big play. Sanaya Rivers made sure they got the last shot. She does a great job of knowing where her teammates are, drawing a secondary defender. But look at that, Sophie Burrows. The fadeaway, big shot by Maddie Hayes, who had a huge third quarter.
ACC Women's Basketball is presented by Ally, the bank that's your ally. Well, we've got a game here as we get ready to start the fourth quarter. From Syracuse, New York, the Orange leading by 3 as the 20th ranked Wolfpack outscored the Orange in that third quarter.
Well, NC State keeping themselves in this ball game because of points off a turnover. Syracuse only has 8 turnovers, but NC State has capitalized on all of them. They got to find ways, if you're the Wolfpack, to get some stops. And if you're the Orange, continue to play with confidence. The game gets tighter. You're in the fourth quarter. Don't go away from where you've found success throughout the course of this game.
Yeah, we've talked about what a loss would mean in terms of hurting NC State's hopes and aspirations going forward. But look at what a big win this would be for Syracuse. Quad 1 victory really could help send them on their way in terms of momentum going forward. Jones staying on the floor. Boy, she moves at a fast pace, and she finds Hayes. Those two really are connecting well. Hayes with 8 points in the last quarter.
Well, they're energy players, right? Zam Jones comes in, and she can make plays, and Madison Hayes, she brings the energy. She's been aggressive. The second half, she's got 10 points, and we saw this in the last game against Virginia. Maddie Hayes makes those energy plays. She really is the one that gets this team going.
Yeah, she is that glue player so often for this NC State team. And now the game is tied at 57. NC State has not led since the score was 3-2 in the first. Can Syracuse hang on to this lead they've worked so hard to have? Now the Wolfpack with a chance to take it away. Jones to Hayes again. This time it's a travel.
Right idea. I like the idea of being aggressive. Looks very similar to that game-winning shot she hit against Virginia where she attacks on the baseline. But you got to string some stops together now if you're NC State. And you can't get too tight, right, if you're Syracuse.
NC State expects to be in a position where they have an opportunity to win in the fourth. Syracuse is perhaps still learning that with all these different pieces they're putting together this season. It's a 1-6 mark in conference play. They did win their last ACC home game, though, looking to make it 2 in a row here on their home floor as Wood delivers.
Good patience, getting the ball into the hands of Kyra Wood, letting her go into work.
Wolfpack with a chance to tie or take the lead. Trieger. Woolley. Camp. Always looking for the pass. Was open enough to take her own shot that time. Now it's 2-on-1 for the Wolfpack. Jones tried to go up and over Burrows. Syracuse will slow it down a little bit. Up and down we went those last couple possessions. Camp calling things out. Burrows was left open after the trip from Jones. Couldn't knock it down. Brooks. Great pass and just couldn't get the finish. Brooks nearly got it done herself. Some frustration on that play, no doubt.
Yeah, you got to make those. That was a great drive and drop by Zoe Brooks.
Woolley will try the three. The team's gone a little bit cold here over the last couple of minutes. Well, tonight at 10 Eastern, after our women's basketball doubleheader, our Nothing But Net crew will break down the night in the ACC. They've got all your highlights, analysis of all the games, also look ahead at the best matchups coming up over the weekend. We've got you covered all season right here in ACC Network and the ESPN app. You get a chance to see the Duke Blue Devils coming up next. They are on the road at SMU. Duke, another team that is just behind Notre Dame, tied with NC State at the moment. Both teams with a 6-1 mark in conference play. How good is the triangle right now? Duke, NC State, North Carolina, all three of those teams currently predicted as 4 seeds to host in the NCAA tournament by Charlie Crane. Long way to go, though. 5 on the shot clock for Woolley. They just ran right into the Wolfpack defense. They forced the turnover.
Georgia Woolley looking to make a play off of this screen and roll, and NC State switching. Gosh, looks like Joey Brooks got away with a foul right there.
Yeah, that's you can understand the frustration,
yes,
I would say, for Georgia Woolley. NC State had gotten it tied at 57, closest they'd come since the opening minutes of this game. But what a take there as the switch to the right at the last second just didn't pay off for Jones. Everything else pretty spectacular. Over 3 minutes without a basket for NC State since they tied it at 57. Woolley can really tell the Syracuse team when you talk about hanging on to the lead, not getting tight, still playing your game. She's so big as a part of that. Maya Wilson's back behind the play. There's a 1-player advantage for NC State. Wilson's got her hand to her mouth, couldn't even come down the floor. And now the officials see it, and they'll take a look at it. Wilson comes off. Wood back into the game. Not entirely sure what happened, but obviously it was some sort of contact that kept Wilson back behind the play. And allowed Isaiah James to tie this at 59. Back to Syracuse, 5:49 to go. Orange, too, have not been able to score for the last few minutes. Burrows got to put that one away. Verajao battling for the rebound. NC State holding their ground. Jump ball called. Syracuse possession.
And this is where you see Syracuse, having not been in a lot of these types of situations, tighten up just a little bit. You know, missing some of the bunnies, a little bit late in decision making, trying to force things to happen instead of allowing them to happen.
Woolley to Verajao. Awu in there again. She's been effective defensively, and then Burrows just not giving up on the play. She gets fouled.
I mean, Syracuse is just so good at attacking the offensive glass. They continue to move. Great job for the offensive rebound. Burrows gets an opportunity at the free throw line.
And that was Zam Jones, Amaria Jones, Zam as they call her. Her 3rd personal. So something to keep an eye on because she's been a real spark for this NC State team in the second half. 13 points in the game for Burrows, who is oddly just a 59% free throw shooter on the season. You expect that number to be higher, especially because she's a pretty darn good 3-point shooter. She's made more threes than anybody else on the Syracuse team, but misses the first free throw.
Syracuse 60, NC State 59.
1-point lead for the Orange. NC State has a chance here to go on top. They can't. Awu with the offensive rebound. No, Wood was there. And it's Syracuse ball. Marina Awu getting some big minutes off the bench for Westmore tonight.
Awu gives him a different look on the interior. Her size, her length, plus she gives him a low block presence against the zone. And you've see just a little bit more sense of urgency on the defensive end for NC State, and it makes a difference. That's got to be a 40-minute thing for them.
You can see the shot clock getting low again for Syracuse here, having trouble finding a good look. Woolley missed everything. She's got a bit of the backboard, which won't help her out. Nice. James for the lead. Oh, the offensive rebound. Still Syracuse hangs on by the slimmest of threads to the lead. The Orange have missed their last 6 from the floor.
Dominique Camp saw an opportunity in transition, talking to her team about moving, getting down the floor. Wanted Georgia Woolley to fill behind.
Burrows. 2 more to her total. 16 in the game for Burrows. Last 2 games of the regular season have been really close between these 2 teams. NC State leads the overall series, but it's close once again. We've got a timeout on the floor. 3 points, Syracuse lead. Well, Justin, let's see what happens now in our last, just about 4 minutes here. It's been a low-scoring 4th quarter so far, Stephanie.
It sure has, and you see the tale of each quarter. Syracuse certainly started out the ball game on fire, and NC State found a little bit of rhythm in the 3rd, and now you come down to this 4th quarter as the experience in these in-game situations of the Wolfpack come through. We've seen a little bit more of a sense of urgency on the defensive end, and we've seen Syracuse tighten up a little bit offensively.
Now, offense hasn't been coming easy for either team. Syracuse, one of their last 7. NC State, one of their last 10 in terms of field goals. We have gotten a few contributions from the free throw line. That's where James will be now.
At the line for 2 shots, Isaiah
8 points in the game for James, now 9. All ACC first team selection last year, and has just continued to be such a big part of what this NC State team does. How they go so often coincides with how she goes. Now they get to set some pressure defensively.
I like coming with the pressure, but I still think they can do a better job of pressuring the basketball. You don't have to back off once it comes in. Make it a little bit more difficult.
Still a 1-point Syracuse lead. Orange haven't beaten NC State in the last 8 meetings between the 2 teams. Syracuse's last one coming in 2017. That's an offensive foul. Isaiah James drew 3 charges in NC State's last game against Virginia. That's a big one there.
It sure is, and Isaiah James just moving laterally. A little bit of the lowering of the shoulder. I think those block charge calls are so incredibly difficult. I don't envy the officials in those situations.
Brooks. NC State finally finds its way back in front. First time since the score said 3-2 that NC State leads. Woolley wants to change that immediately, and she is fouled.
Well, Zoe Brooks was the lone Wolfpack player in the first half, finding ways to get into the middle of the zone. Does a good job right there of knocking down a tough mid-range.
14 points in the game for Brooks. Woolley back on the line. Well, we know you all love basketball, but for those gymnastics fans out there, we've got you covered there too. Next time, it'll be Sunday, number 15 Stanford, number 25 Pitt, coming your way right here on ACCN. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern. That, of course, is in the midst of 3 ACC women's basketball games, so we've got you covered too, as always, on Sundays here on ACCN. Woolley puts Syracuse back in front by 1. Hayes for 3. Hayes scored 17 of her 19 points in the last game. In the second half, she comes up big when NC State needs her. Still, though, the Wolfpack have struggled this entire game, really, to consistently hit from downtown. 0 for 4 from 3 in this quarter. Wilson is back out there for Syracuse. We went back and looked, and she had to come off earlier. Just got hit by her own teammate unintentionally. Had to come off for just a minute. Announces her return in impressive fashion. Awu. Good take on the other end by the freshman. Sometimes you never know who's going to step up in those moments.
I like how intentional Syracuse is being on the offensive end of the floor. You know, they're coming down, they understand who they want to get the ball to, they're making sure they get touches, they're patient and poised.
And that was a big moment right there because both teams thought they should have gotten that rebound. It was batted around for a while. Eventually, it's a foul called on Isaiah James, her first.
And I think that's the right call. I mean, it really is. The ball is just being tipped around, and Isaiah James certainly is going for the ball, but I think that's the right call. You know, for the Wolfpack, they just have to do a better job of moving bodies on the interior. Just turning and being in front of someone is not enough. You see out of bounds, Syracuse, a dead ball turnover.
As we said earlier, both teams really have done a pretty good job of taking care of the basketball. NC State has capitalized when Syracuse has turned it over. Brooks trying to take advantage here. We'll go back to the free throw line. Fourth team foul of the quarter for Syracuse.
Yeah, Zoe Brooks has done a really good job of getting 2 feet in the paint. Here she draws the foul, gets to the free throw line.
So 14 fouls on Syracuse. That means the next one, and NC State will be shooting the rest of the way. The Wolfpack have 3 team fouls in the quarter. And NC State's been good when they've gotten to the line in this game. 10 for 12 so far as a team in this game.
And they've not been great on the season as a whole. Only 67% as a team, so stepping up in big moments and knocking them down.
And last free throw, putting NC State up by 1. The Orange have led for the majority of this game. Eight on the shot clock for Woolley. Tried to go into the double team, and the referee's going to come together to talk about this one. Going to stay on this end. 4.5 seconds, though, on the shot clock. Now, at this point in the game, the officials can look to see who this went off of.
Well, and if you're Felicia Leggett-Jack, that's what you want, right? You want an opportunity to use a timeout without using the timeout, right? So you want them to go look at it.
The out-of-bounds call is under review. The call on the floor is white ball.
And first look here, it appears that would be the correct call, Syracuse ball, but let's see from this angle. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a bonus in the sense of, yeah, you got that timeout without having to call it, although there are 3 timeouts left for each team.
You look at the fouls to give, the timeouts. You get an opportunity right now with 4 seconds left on the shot clock to get something that you want while they're looking at this play.
So let's talk about that a little bit. We'll assume Syracuse is going to maintain possession here. That's at least on our look what it looks like it would be, and that was the call on the floor with Syracuse ball. Who do they go to here?
I think you go to Kyra Wood. I think you try to run some sort of screen-to-screener action. You got a shooter coming out, so certainly you have to be aware of Burrows. You have to be aware of Woolley. And while that happens and all the switching happens on the defensive end, look to a slip to the rim.
Big moment, big opportunity here for Syracuse on their home floor, coming off back-to-back losses on the road, including
the call stands, Syracuse ball.
There you go, call stands. Thank you to Denise Brooks for letting us know. So how you bounce back from difficult moments. Coach Jack always talks about we're being put through this for a reason. This could be the reason, because what a win this would be on Syracuse's resume if they can figure out how to close this one out. Trailing NC State by a point now. Let's see where they go with this inbounds play. Wood standing there alone at the moment, right at the top of the key. It goes quickly to Wilson, and then jump ball. NC State has a possession arrow.
And you just need a good defensive possession if you're Syracuse. You want to force a tough contested shot.
NC State, which has not once looked like they've panicked in this game. They trailed by double digits at the half. James coming through.
And it can be that easy against the zone. Just find your way to that logo. Find the way to the soft spot.
And Syracuse has led for over 34 minutes of this game. But you know what it comes down to? The final minute and few seconds. And right now it is NC State in front. Still a one-possession game. Here is Wood. Tapped off the front of the rim. Camp, another chance for Syracuse.
I don't think you had to chuck that one. I thought you had an opportunity to either get an extra pass or attack and a close. I certainly want to score quickly, but I don't think you had to do that.
So that is the 5th team foul. That'll put NC State on the line, where, as you said, they're shooting much better than their season average. They're at just under 85% from the line for the game, 11 for 13. And Westmore having a conversation with Safe Rushel over on the sideline. Not really sure what he's frustrated about, but Rivers on the free throw line.
Well, you've got timeouts, so you would anticipate Syracuse making sure, number one, first and foremost, if there is a miss, you get the rebound. And then you look to advance the ball.
Still a one-possession game. Does that change on this free throw? Yes, it does. That was a big one by Rivers. There's the timeout, so you anticipate Syracuse likely will advance the ball. We'll see what Coach Jack and co come up with when we come back. The heat is on now for Syracuse, so we assume they are advancing the ball here. Stephanie, what do they need? Do they need
You need a quick score. No, I mean, you need a quick score. It's a two-possession game. You know, if you're NC State, you have a foul to give, right? So you can use it. You certainly don't want to use it when somebody's gathering to go up for the shot, but you have a foul to give. You have timeouts. You can get a look at the set. If you don't like the way your defense is set, if you're Westmore, call another one. But if you're Syracuse, you got to get something going to the rim, trying to get a quick score or a foul. If you get an open three early, take it, certainly.
Threes haven't really fallen for Syracuse, especially in the second half. Just 1 of 9 in the second half from three. Taking some time off the clock here.
Gotta go.
Camp with the drive. Contested two. NC State will take that and get the basketball, and then they're fouled. Well, Coach Jack is hot over on the sideline. Let's take a look back at that last play. The call on the floor was a foul on Syracuse.
Go on the shot, staying vertical, and the foul on the rebound by, I think, Kira Wood. And I think Coach Jack wanted a foul on the initial shot, but there had been a little bit of jawing back and forth with both of the coaches and the officials.
Well, Lorena Owu is on the line. A technical foul was issued to Coach Jack. I don't see that an actual foul was called on that play.
I think that foul was called on Kyra Wood, and that's why Owu is shooting those, right? Didn't he call a foul first and then a technical foul?
Haven't gotten all that information. think you are correct there, Stephanie. So that's why Owu was shooting. So the foul there on Wood, yes. And then the technical on Coach Jack puts whoever NC State wants on the line. They'll put Zoe Brooks there, 70% free throw shooter. And, I mean, these last few seconds here really helping to seal the deal for NC State. But look, Syracuse has had their struggles. They've missed their last 6 from the floor, 2 of their last 14. They've gone over 2 minutes without a score.
Well, and that was the question mark coming down the stretch the last 4 minutes of this ball game, was the experience of NC State in these situations versus the inexperience of Syracuse.
NC State pushed much more than this score will indicate in the final box score in this game. You got to be frustrated with the opportunity that you had before you, I would think, if you were Syracuse.
Yeah, and there have been a few of these ball games where Syracuse has been in it and have not been able to finish. And again, you just start to get pieces back. You have to feel good about what you did on the offensive end of the floor, not able to finish it. But it's about finding momentum, finding some confidence. And if you're NC State, I think you're Wes Moore and your coaching staff, you're questioning right now, because this is a team that needs more of a sense of urgency, needs to understand the moment. Certainly it's hard to go on the road, there's no question about it. But the sense of urgency that they played with in the last 4 minutes, the margin for error is too small to save that for the fourth quarter. It's got to be a 40-minute sense of urgency, particularly on the defensive end of the floor.
And you've talked about, too, what NC State has coming up. Let's just go ahead and jump to February for a moment, because this gives you a pretty good snapshot of the road that lies ahead.
Yes, it's certainly not an easy one. You know, you look at Duke and Carolina and Tech and Notre Dame, and certainly not overlooking anyone else, but it's going to take a better, more consistent effort to be able to come away and position themselves where they want to be as a top 4 seed, as a host in the NCAA tournament, and trending towards playing your best basketball in March.
And just, by the way, because it wasn't noted there, Florida State, North Carolina, Georgia Tech, all on the road for NC State in that stretch. But the Wolfpack are going to find a way to come away with the victory, improve to 7-1 in the ACC, as Syracuse led for the majority of this game, but just could not finish it off.
Yeah, and this is the NC State experience, being able to come in the fourth quarter. You know, Coach Jack had the cues ready. They were ready. They just could not pull off the upset.
74-66 the final, as NC State overcame that halftime deficit, something they hadn't seen before. But Justin, they've got it figured out now. Another victory for the Wolfpack on the road.
Welcome into the ACC Network studios. We got the full squad back with us. Hall of Famer Muffin McGraw, Kelly Graham, Ivory Latta. I'm Justin Walters. An impressive victory for NC State, but they certainly kept it close, Coach.
I'm telling you, there are games when you just don't shoot the ball well, and you go in the locker room and go, man, we really got lucky. We shouldn't have won that game. We got lucky. But there was a game like this where they didn't have the energy on defense, and the shots they were taking, not great shots, but layups. I mean, I think they were 7 for 18 on layups tonight. 13 for 24, whatever it was, 50% of layups.
Yeah, a lot of missed layups in there for NC State. I want to give a lot of credit to Syracuse. I thought Syracuse came ready to play, having Georgia Woolley back. Syracuse was really aggressive and active on the boards. Offensive rebounding, they out-rebounded NC State by 9, and that brings us back to what we've always said about NC State is their post presence. Still trying to figure that out. Played more Owu today, who's a young player for them, than Trieger. Still, that's a work in progress, but Isaiah James, Zoe Brooks made some big shots down the stretch.
Yeah, those guards definitely did. The thing was today with me with NC State, their lack of awareness on the defensive end. They didn't know whether they wanted to ice the screen, the guard go under, go over. I mean, that right there, that can't happen with NC State. And we always looking for Sanaya Rivers to really step up and be the leader on this team. Whether it's scoring or defensive, they got to get and play in the passing lanes. Like they say, they had no energy at the beginning. They wasn't aggressive on the defensive end. Okay, if you don't shoot the ball, what other things that you can do to help the team get the win? And it was just a tough day.
You got to get shots.
Yes.
I mean, she was 1 for 6. She's got to get more shots than that.
Yeah, Coach, and for the record, they were 14 for 26.
Thank you. There you go.
Yes, a lot of missed layups. Shout out to Madison Hayes, who had another big game coming off an 18-point performance. Welcome into a brand new edition of Nothing But Net alongside Hall of Famer Muffin McGraw, Clemson sharpshooter Kelly Gramlich, UNC great Ivory Latta. I'm Justin Walters. For the record, Ivory, please let everyone know what color that is.
I don't know.
Orange.
Orange, right?
Yes.
Orange, okay. Ivory's being a little sedity right now, but it's a great segue because we had a team that was in orange as well as red. Let's head out to the JMA Wireless Dome. NC State taking on Syracuse. The Wolfpack has won 10 out of their last 11 games. The Orange were hot, up by 5 in the second. You'd love to see Georgia Woolley back, Coach.
Yeah, she had a kind of a tough start coming off that flu, was in and out of the game.
In the third, Wolfpack down 5. Sanaya Rivers finds Madison Hayes. She's been explosive lately. Moments later, Sophie Burrows turnaround fadeaway. She had a huge game, Kelly.
Syracuse would not go away. Played really well at home. Showed a lot of fight in this game.
Hey, Ivory, now I know you love Zam Jones. She feeds it to Hayes, spinning and winning.
Hey, Hayes have been balling the last couple games for NC State. She's been keeping them in the game.
But here comes Burrows, mid-range step back, jack. Burrows had a team high 16 points. 3 minutes to go, the Wolfpack down by 1. Zoe Brooks. Tough lay-in. NC State takes their first lead since the opening minutes of the game. Isaiah James, too clutch inside with a mid-range pull-up. James had 14 points, 35 seconds to go. Orange trying to stay alive. Camp gets a decent look from 3, but it's no good. The Wolfpack fall back and win this 74-66. NC State trailed for much of this game, but they led when it mattered most. The Wolfpack were able to complete 11-point comeback, their largest this season. After the game, Jen Hildreth and Stephanie White caught up with Madison Hayes.
NC State pushed on the road, but coming away with the victory at Syracuse. Madison Hayes, you find a way to come alive, it feels like, in the second half for your team. But what did you guys talk about at halftime that had to be better in the second half?
We just had to do better rebounding and being more physical. You know, a game is a game, so not all the calls are going to go your way, but we just have to fight through it, and that's what we did in the second half.
It feels like this team is working to find consistency. You know, what is it going to take to find that as you hit the month of February?
We just have to play all 4 quarters the same way that we did in the second half, especially the last 2 games. So we got to do better in that. But all in all, we did good tonight. You know, win is a win, but we got to do better when we come and play Virginia Tech.
Yeah, that's coming up on Sunday. You get back home for that one. But what do you take out of this game? Some things that you know coaches are going to be talking to you guys about.
Just the physicality and playing through the fouls. I mean, it was a tough game. It's a very physical game. We just got to be ready to play and come out with intensity and urgency. We talked about that a lot before this game, and we, were lackadaisical on the floor in the first half, but we ended up picking it up in the second half.
Another 18-point performance from Madison Hayes. It's evident that she and this team realize that they don't always start and finish the same way. Did you like at least that she's acknowledging that?
Yeah, I think it was important, but I think she needed to talk a little bit more about individual consistency. I think they need. Madison Hayes been playing great. Sanaya Rivers tonight, 1 for 6. You cannot take 6 shots when you're one of the team's best players and second leading scorer. She needs to do a lot more. They need to come out of the gate and really do that. But I thought the way they attacked the zone in the first half, I didn't really like it. They needed to get to that logo area where the ACC is. They need to go inside out. They were not shooting well from the 3-point line. They didn't do a great job on the offensive boards. A lot of stuff to clean up from that game.
Sometimes when you see a zone in the first half, you settle for threes, right? Because you just see it and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to make this 3 or she's going to make that 3 and we're going to bust the zone. And especially in the dome, those sight lines are weird. Like, it's a weird place to shoot. Obviously, they weren't hitting shots early. Credit them for making the adjustments in the second half. They were 1 for 10 from 3 in the first half. They did get out rebounded. That worries me a bit for NC State. But look, they won the game. They have to start better, though, Ivory. These early starts for NC State, when they play Virginia Tech on Sunday, who's one of the hottest teams in the league, that could be a problem.
Yeah, I just wish she would have said, hey, we need to come out, with a fire under us. We need to come out with more energy. Start on the defensive end. They got the players. Sanaya Rivers, known for playing in the passing lane. She's a taller guard. She's long. Isaiah James, she can get up in somebody's grill and start getting the steals. They need to focus on defense, get the steals. They got the offensive weapons to pretty much compete with anybody right now in the ACC. Focus on starting the games off right, setting the tone on the defensive end, rebounding, and they did a great job. 24-2 fast break points that they had. Get the ball out. They're a great team that's in the open court.
But Kelly, you had a great point, sorry, Coach, about how they've won at least 11 of their 12 games. I know we're picking apart and they won, and we want to see them play a different style, but sometimes it's ugly, right?
It's an ugly baby, but it's their baby, as Westmore would say. So, yeah, they've won 11 of their last 12. The one loss was out when they played Cal, and Cal ambushed them and hit a bunch of threes, and that's a tough loss. But they are winning. And if you can learn these lessons, maybe learn that you have to start quicker, figure out who your young post is going to be, learn these lessons through wins, that's the best thing, right, Coach? I mean, I know sometimes maybe you want a loss to fire up your team, but you also need to keep winning when it comes to top 4 seed in the ACC tournament and NCAA tournament.
I think the frustration for a coach is that we're not playing our potential. And that is what I'm looking at every single game. I'm like, when are we going to paint our masterpiece? What is the best that we can play? I want to go out every game. I want to play so that we could beat the best team on our schedule. And right now, they're just getting by. And that really concerns me.
And I agree 100% with both of y'all. Yes, they are winning. I'm looking at them like, they can play so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we just gonna nitpick everything, but when you look at a team that, like you said, has the potential, has the players to compete of, winning the ACC championship, going far in the NCAA tournament, but they're just not playing up to their potential, don't know what it is. Even though they're winning, it's okay to still have a little team meeting about some energy and, starting the game off right. I believe in team
Ivory
meetings.
might be leading this meeting in her NC State red suit. She's going to zoom in to the meeting.
The Westmore drip. We love the suit, the Ron suit, which she failed to explain earlier. Next up for NC State is Virginia Tech.